Update. Family calls me to go back home. I reveal the reason why I left. It has been a whole 6 months since I gave an update. I had wanted to come back with a happy conclusion of me being done with the legal process, having what is mine, and going low to no contact with my mom, but life has taught me it is never going to be easy for me. This may be a long update, and I do apologize. A lot has happened in these 6 months. Therefore, I would start with the semi-good things. I moved out in April. I rented a house with my savings and moved out, and I now live with 2 friends. It is over an hour away from my familial home, and my mom has been over once and not more than that. I refuse to give the location to her or anyone else, so no family member knows or has been to where I live, with the exception of her, an auntie who lives 15 hours away, and an uncle who has bad memory, who she brought along with her to look at the house. I am also now able to cut her calls and ignore her messages and rants because I am physically away from her now. I am slowly getting back into my passion and hobbies I had left while going through this tough time. I have been able to get an estimate from the lawyer about the legal fees and how to proceed. However, I have fallen into a deep depressive episode. In fact, this year has been one long depressive episode in my opinion. My mom traveled shortly after that last update. We had agreed that I would be coming home on the weekends from my aunt's place, but when she traveled and after the last meeting I had with my mom, aunt, and godfather, it dawned on me that the end goal for all of them was for me to return back home. They had somehow believed her empty promises and kept reminding me of her age and how at her age, she's in her 50s. She is more prone to stress and illness, and I would not want anything bad to happen to her, so I should just go back home, and if she messes up again, then I am in the right to move. I felt cornered. I had multiple breakdowns and was close to ending it all. It was only the support of my friends that kept me and still keep me going, and for that, I will be forever grateful to them. I decided at that moment that I needed to finally choose myself. So I went house and apartment searching along with 2 friends while she was gone. We found a beautiful place, and I drained my savings and paid for it 3 days before she arrived back in the country. All this while, she had been telling everybody who could hear that I was coming back. Even went as far as buying me very expensive material things because she and I were going to bond over it once she was back. I called my godfather and told him I cannot go back, but he did not budge from his position, so I wrote a heartfelt message to my aunt to let her know that if I go back, they might as well sign my death sentence along with other personal anecdotes and reasoning I cannot share for fear of identification. She understood and agreed on the condition that I do not live alone and I should continue to visit my mom on weekends. I agreed, and we moved past that. 2 days after my mom arrived, I told her I was moving out the next day, told her it was for the best, work, emotion, and growth-wise, and she at first started crying and told me she needed me and couldn't live without me, and I was all that she had since my dad died. She then started to list off compromises she was willing to go along with, which I knew were all lies, and some of these compromises had been promises she had told me years ago that she never followed through, so I did not pay her any heed and continued to stand firm in my decision. Then she tried emotional blackmail, and that did not work. Then she started to say she was going to jump off the balcony. Her room and mine are on the 1st floor. So I locked the door and refused to allow her leave the room until she calmed down because I was afraid she was going to hurt herself. Her yelling grew louder and she started screaming that I was hurting her and I wanted to kill her. Mind you, her sister, my older aunt, F+, was on the ground floor hearing all this, and the neighborhood could hear her. My aunt came up to ask what was going on. I had told her I was leaving before my mom arrived from her trip, and she gave me her blessing and told me she would pretend that she did not know what was happening when my mom confided in her. And my mom yelled I was abandoning her, and I did not love her. She continued to say I wanted her dead, which did get to me, and I broke down crying and reminding her of all the things she had done to me. My aunt took me somewhere else and asked me to calm down. After calming down, my aunt came back to tell me to take heart and took me to my room, where I stayed until the next day, which was the day I was leaving. I had already moved majority of my belongings to my aunt's place, so I only had 2 miniature bags to carry from my mum's house. I was going to inform her. I was leaving when my aunt shooed me away and told me not to tell her, to just leave and inform her when I am gone, so a repeat of the previous day did not occur. I thanked her, and I still am grateful for that piece of advice, as I was in no state of mind for my mum's manipulation. My housemate drove me to my aunt's place, and we picked all my belongings and moved to the new house. My mum called later that night, spoke to me in the calmest voice ever, and started trying to convince me again. But when she realized it was not working, she asked to come see the place. It was an amicable bone of contention between one of my housemates, friend of mine, because they felt that for my safety, she should not know where I live, and I agreed till the pressure from all sides, along with my anxiety, got too much for me, as I was still going to see her on weekends, and I was not strong enough for a face-to-face confrontation. We finally agreed that I would ask my therapist about it, and whatever he said was what we would do, and he told me to allow her come see the place just once, and I was running away from my mum, and in turn, running away from the idea of learning to set strict boundaries with her about my space. So my housemate agreed, and she came to see the place while they were not around, leaving me and the other housemate there. She came with my aunt and uncle, and left after 10 minutes of walking around and looking at everything in and out of the house. My kid sisters later told me that she called the house ugly compared to the family house, but I did not really care. I finally had something that was mine and away from her. She has continuously tried to pick fights with me, but I have been able to ignore them. However, 3 weeks ago, I got the estimate to do the probate from the lawyer, and it is a little over $13,000, without the lawyer's fees. In that same week, I found out from my kid sisters overhearing her conversations that she is selling assets behind my back now. I have been in a deep, deep depressive episode since then. I have had continuous anxiety and panic attacks and full-on breakdowns. I feel so lost, unloved, and helpless, and it is genuinely only the support of my friends that keep me going, because family either cannot help or fear to help. I almost ended everything last Friday. I feel cowardly that I could not go through with it. I felt like my world keeps on crashing down, and it would be better if I left so she could get what she wants without fighting, and my friends could rest from all drama that is my life. I have no idea where I am going to get that amount of money from. It is a huge fucking amount. I have only been able to pay $286 out of that amount because it was for filing, leaving me with $12,773 more or less. The courts here do not take assets as payments, and I cannot access the assets until I do the probate. Loan sharks here are unreliable and will ruin your life even before the deadline for your payment back to them arrives, along with out of this world interest rates. I have given myself until October to get that amount because the courts are on vacation here right now and would be back in October. I do not know what to do or who to ask because I do not want to burden my friends. I know they are also having tough times. I have come up with a semi-solution, but anxiety has been taking over my every waking moment. I finished uni this year, so I do not even have a stable job yet to be able to take a bank loan. I keep panicking every day, and I have been faint and nauseous multiple times. I have lost my appetite and can barely eat the portions I used to. I struggle to eat food without feeling nauseous. It all just feels too much for me and too hopeless. I am so afraid that if I do not end it this year, she will sell what was supposed to be for my future. I am genuinely exhausted down to my bones. Just feel pain all the time that the person who gave birth to me is the number one person with no disregard or respect for me. In addition, she continues to have the audacity to pick fights with me, as she tried to say it is my fault that she does chores and her laundry since I moved out because I am the one supposed to be doing all that. I am just tired, man. It just feels like I am constantly fighting every single day. I have gone as far as considering illegal ways to acquire that money, but I did not pursue it because deep down, I do not have the heart for it. I just cannot do it. So now I am trying to find ways, trying to borrow smaller amounts from people, but it is going to be very hard as I feel everyone is going through something that they also need their money for. If you are seeing this and you are religious in any way, please keep me in your prayers. I need it now more than ever. I hope I am able to come back here with a better update. If you've come this far, thank you for reading. Edit. Wanted to add that since I don't have a stable job, I still have to periodically go home to my mom so I could get a little money out of her for upkeep and transport to my temporary workplace. My contract ends this month, as she will not send the money if she knows I can come home. That's why I have not been able to go. Fully no contact, and why I feel the heavy weight on me to finish this legal issue so I do not have to depend on her anymore in any way, shape, or form. TLDR, I moved out finally and live with 2 housemates. Mom tried to throw a tantrum and I did not budge. Now, I need to pay a little over $12,700 to access my inheritance. That is without the lawyer's fees.